The National Building Museum is one of the country's most treasured cultural institutions, a museum dedicated to the building arts and sciences.
This is the building of buildings. I mean, this is the place where all the roads converge from around the country for ideas about building. And imagine that not long ago there wasn't such an institution.
30 years ago, the idea of a museum dedicated to the built environment was ahead of its time.
We started this with no identifiable financial support. What we had, however, was the vast world of people involved with the built environment.
Early leaders emerged who took on a mission to document the impact that buildings have on our society.
I saw what we were doing as really enabling this small organization to take possession of that mission.
People in their daily lives take certain things for granted. They don't think about the evolution of ideas and the construction that went into their neighborhood or the city in which they live. So to call attention to those things is a tremendous scope for a museum.
Over the past 3 decades, the museum's acclaimed exhibitions have helped millions of people from around the world to see their surroundings with new eyes.
From a curatorial perspective, there's nothing more exciting than teaching the public about the history of the built environment. I mean, it's a subject I love, and you want to just share that with everybody.
The museum's educational programs are renowned for serving the local community, inspiring the public, from professionals to our youngest citizens.
It gives them the building blocks with which to experiment and learn about their environment. The National Building Museum is really a very vital part of the cultural system.
Through this work, the museum inspires the public, improves the built environment, and, just maybe, satisfies the noblest of visions.
When they bring people in and teach them something about urban planning, teach them to see, teach them that they may not be aware of it, but the environment in which they live and work really does shape the way society behaves. I think to the extent the museum does that, that's what Moynihan would be proudest of.
Since 1986, the museum has presented its Honor Award to leaders who shaped America's heritage, defined its culture, developed its communities, and crafted its built environment.
Just look upon the built environment and don't have a real appreciation of the hard work and the problem solving that goes into it. Our honor awards really recognize the fact that a single person doesn't produce these results.
Individually, they advanced the building arts and sciences. Collectively, their legacy is profound.
You see the big construction machinery and you see the big buildings going up, you're in awe, and I think that basic awe never leaves. We all love to build.
Some of our most cherished landmarks are lasting reminders of the people and organizations devoted to designing and building our uniquely American experience.
If you look at the major structures in this country, odds are that that structure was built by an AGC member, whether the Hoover Dam, the Golden Gate Bridge, the Empire State Building, the U.S. Supreme Court.
GSA holds the legacy that started with George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, who actually thought that the kind of city planning and architecture that you did made a difference, not only in expressing the values of the new government that they were founding, but inculcating the values of the government.
By honoring this work, the awards inspire us all to better see what is possible.
Yes, recognition is appreciated, but I think it also begets success. Others can look at those and say, well, maybe I can do it too.
After the concrete is poured, the steel is welded, and the glass is fixed, finished structures become a part of the larger assembly, the communities that make a vibrant society.
A great deal of what we do now as a company involves revitalizing areas of cities and looking for areas of growth. We can help stimulate growth. I do believe our contribution will be the communities we leave for our residents.
Whether it's in Pittsburgh or Milwaukee or Atlanta or Denver, all over the country, it has been really marvelous to watch new stadiums come up. But what's really important, in the end, they made their communities a better place to live.
The thing that's most important to communities that I work with all over the country, regardless of their color, their class, their race or ethnicity, where they live, is how does their community suit their needs? Does it provide, the proper schooling? Does it provide places for people to work and play? And once it has all of those things, then you have a healthy community.
Our honorees are building and preserving safe, healthy, and affordable homes for the most vulnerable in our society. No small challenge in a world where cities are becoming more dense and resources are diminishing.
The total number of people who are unhoused or underhoused in the world, and the estimates are about 2 billion, right? So as a third of humanity, you can either think of that as a poverty problem, or you can think of it as a construction problem. How do you build 2 billion houses?
Building affordable housing will only help cities grow. I think today people don't realize what a resource the existing stock that they have, because the cost of replacing it we cannot afford.
We hope that we've created a model that others can emulate. It was hard, it was crazy for us to embark on something like this, but by God, we did it.
During the past few decades, leaders from within the built environment realized they needed to address the environmental impacts of our growth. They were visionaries in sustainability.
We've gone past the point of asking the question, would you build green, to the point of we're saying, why would you not build green?
Every day at UTC, we challenge ourselves to be better, to redefine what is possible and do more with less, which at UTC means more new ideas, less conventional thinking, products which provide more power and capabilities but use less energy.
The uniquely American belief in the power of innovation and creative thinking unites many of our honorees.
One of the things we're excited about these days around innovation is just how intellectual curiosity in a number of different areas of our practice can lead to a new perspective, a new point of view around the built environment.
Part of being a leading brand is to continuously innovate, and McGraw-Hill Construction is innovating by bringing our users into the dialogue with our journalists.
Technological innovations aren't just sparking rapid change in the design and construction of buildings. They are empowering the public.
Technology allows you to see things today that you could never see before. And then it allows you to map them in ways that you could never map them before and visualize them. So now you can understand what the opportunities are.
The idea of democratizing technology, which means it's not held centrally but is open and other people can take advantage of it. That's creating stronger networks within cities, stronger avenues for finding solutions and testing solutions. Hundreds of thousands of cities all trying to figure out how to make themselves better. That's got to be very good.
Achieving excellence in building requires interdisciplinary collaboration. This is exemplified not only by our honorees, but is an attribute of everyone involved in creating an enduring built heritage.
There are so many people involved in the creation of a building or a place. We look at that building and we should also think about the person who has been mining the aluminum that goes into the window wall, or the craftsman who puts it all together in the field, or the city planner that relates that project to the demands of the sewer system. Tens of thousands of people after a project is built who could walk down to that project and say, I did that.
One of the things that the Building Museum is noted for is bringing a broad array of stakeholders together. The environmental groups, the housing groups, the policymakers, the lenders, government agencies. They have to sit around the table to solve the current issues that we're facing.
At the museum, developers, planners, and community activists gather together to harness their collective power.
It's really neat to see frontiers being carefully, cleverly, artistically recreated, and places that for so long were kind of given up on, abandoned physically and morally.
Whether restoring the work of a bricklayer, developing atop the plans of l'enfant, or designing a skyscraper, our next generation of leaders inherited the collaborative spirit of those who came before.
I'm excited because the ideas are out there. The innovations are there, and what we need to do is bring people to collaborate, the policymakers, the developers, the architects, and everybody from the grassroots on up.
A new breed of policymakers is emerging to enable those complex solutions by challenging the status quo.
I think the way that we build our transportation systems has a bigger impact than we realize. And if I could change one thing with the snap of a finger, that's where I would focus. I think it's really going to come from the ground level, and when we start to see this happen in communities everywhere, eventually at the national level we're gonna get the picture. It's hard, it's tough for everyone. It requires policymakers to think creatively and out of the box. And it requires developers to do new things that can be a bit scary.
An innovative real estate developer is rising to that challenge, reclaiming gray fields and creating transit-oriented communities.
For 50 years, we've been subsidizing building and living with sprawl. And I think we're going to spend the next, I hope we spend the next 50 years undoing that. Filling in the fields of parking that we've created emanating from our urban centers out to the periphery.
As these places are revitalized, our young professionals are also focused on reincorporating natural environments, bringing cities to life.
Landscapes perform benefits and services for the public. It's really that connective tissue between buildings that allow people to get out and experience their city and their community and enjoy the urban culture.
Connectivity is also a force in our global community. Young designers are embracing this change.
I'm really excited about the potential of this shift in thinking about sustainability and new technologies. The world is huge, but it's beginning to feel smaller. And I think that people are realizing that what they do here has an impact not only on their community, but on the entire world.
In our interconnected future, the thriving urban places will be the ones that can adapt and execute the change these young leaders envision.
My hope is that we live in neighborhoods that are part of great cities and part of great regions that are thriving and are competing globally. We really have to think about competing with Barcelona, with Paris, with Rio de Janeiro, places around the world that are really putting a lot of emphasis in transportation and infrastructure that I think American cities and regions really could learn a lot from.
And that will begin by empowering the public, including its youngest citizens, to see their built environment in new ways. Inspiring them is a new generation of educators.
Most of the kids that I work with, they know exactly what's going on in their neighborhood, they know exactly what's wrong with it. In many respects, they have an idea of what they'd even want to fix.
We're gonna have a dog park that shows a playground and a bike trail.
It's gonna be because they don't have enough green space in the area, so.
So I think being able to provide the opportunities for them to put words to that, to put them in positions of power where they can transfer that knowledge and either jumpstart their learning or to jumpstart the neighborhood. The city should be the classroom for the future.
We are going to include a lobby over here, a coffee shop over here.
We are doing it in an interdisciplinary manner. Interdisciplinary, yes. Interdisciplinary.
The National Building Museum salutes our honorees' achievements in building the world we live in today. Tonight, we also celebrate the inspiring possibilities for the next 25 years. Who will we honor as future leaders in creating our design and building heritage? Tweet your suggestions for honorees or emerging leaders we should follow to #HA2011. and we will continue our mission of improving the built environment together.